Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel, Climbinator 1978 or 1978, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a strange video. It's going to be two reviews in one video. I'm going to be reviewing the films Nosferatu and also the film Presence, which only came out yesterday. So, firstly, onto the film Nosferatu. Yeah, I know my review is a bit late, but I wanted to take a little bit of time to prepare myself for it. All I can say is Nosferatu is literally one of the best films, certainly one of the best horror films I have seen in the last 10 years. It's got that kind of like Bram Stoker's Dracula kind of vibe to it, in that it's hard to describe without giving away too many spoilers. But a brief historical overview about the film itself. For those who don't know, and I'm talking about the very, very few people who don't know about this, but the film itself is a remake of a 1922 silent movie called Nosferatu, which starred Max Schreck, who a character in the film Batman Returns was named after. There was also like a docudrama film called Shadow of the Vampire, which also stars Willem Dafoe as the actor Max Schreck on the film set of Nosferatu, where there was like a bit of an urban legend about him being possibly a vampire. Yeah. Anyway, the film itself is a masterpiece of cinematic art. It is literally, beautiful to look at. And the true horror that you see in the film is not the gore, but it's more about the implication of what Count Orlok, because remember, these are Dracula characters in name. Well, not so much in name only, but they're copyright restricted characters of Dracula. Basically an Elseworlds version of them. Anyway, the 1922 version of the film, I believe it's only about an hour and 25 minutes, hour and a half. This remake, it is over 2 hours. So there's a lot more plot lines that are put into the film, especially in the second half, from what I got the vibe of. So I've never seen the original. I've seen clips of it, but I've never seen it in its entirety. And I intend to at some point in my life, but The film itself is literally a piece of art. And as long as the story is gripping, that's what, keeps me content. And I hate to say it, but I was really torn about which one was the better film in my recent cinema experiences when it came to Nosferatu and Presence. And when it came to the story, in many ways it was Nosferatu. There's many plot beats that kept me guessing about what was going to happen next. Trying to work out who was going to do what, who was working with who, what was going on. That was what I thought was great with Nosferatu. However, in the second half, it starts to get a little derailed into less of a horror film that it was setting itself up to be in the first half. And in the second half, it becomes more of your borderline comic book kind of film. When, spoilers, the city of London, no, Germany, Prague, I think it is actually, yes, Prague, actually gets infested with rats. And of course, this all happens when the ship carrying Count Orlok has just crashed into the harbour. You can guess what the rats are infested with. Meaning that they go and they infest the residents of the city. And it's not long before the hospitals get filled with infected patients. Yep. So I thought, alright, you got more intriguing characters in here. Whereas in Presence, that was the problem. The characters are just really interchangeable. But before I get onto Presence, what I'm going to say is there is some decent twists and unexpected moments in Nosferatu. So I'm giving it a Highway to Heaven rating. Now on to Presence. The film I saw yesterday, I knew nothing about it. I knew, the only thing I knew was the outline, which I literally found on IMDb. And I thought, I fancy a cinema trip. What's on? Oh, Presence. Okay, so it's about a family that move into a house only to find that they're not alone. Okay, basically sounds like Conjuring stuff. I'm not really into Conjuring type of movies, but this one actually looks like it might be not as dour and depressing and everyone talking a gravelly voice type. And I will give it credit, it's nothing like that. It starts off where you've got this constant panning camera following family members around this new house. And you're like, okay, that's weird. Bit creepy, Maybe there's going to be a jump scare, you know, should be around about now. Spoiler alert, there are no jump scares in the film, or very little jump scares. Yeah. But the interesting thing about this film is that, yes, the house is haunted. But the audience's POV, i.e. the point of view, is that we're seeing it from the point of view of the ghost. And they are connected to the family. I won't spoil it for anyone who's watching my channel and, you know, thinking of going to see this film. And I will warn you that the film is slow-paced. In the first and second act is definitely slow-paced. But the actors give it their all. They give it their all, they do, with what they are given. There's not much dialogue, to be fair, with a lot of the characters. It's just... they feel, you know, the writers obviously felt that there wasn't need for much dialogue in this film, and it worked. And it didn't dawn on me until halfway through the film there was hardly any score. In fact, apart from a few incidental pieces of music, there was no score. No score at all. And it actually added to the atmosphere. So, as I say, it's a slow-paced film, but the adrenaline does pick up in the third act. Yeah, I won't spoil it. No, because I did have my suspicions it was going to go that way, but not to the length it actually went to. Would I consider going to see it on the big screen? If you like indie films, indie horror films, yeah, because it's gorgeous to look at. It really is. And it's actually a pretty good film to watch. Remember, you know, horror movies don't necessarily have to have jump scares. It can be about atmosphere. And it can also be about character building, which doesn't have to be written down or even spoken. It can be underlinement. Like, the way I saw the movie was that it was actually all about the audience's POV on seeing how a family deal with mental health. But that's just my theory. Would I consider renting it at home? Yes. Buying or renting it at home when it's available to do so? Yes. Yes. You'll definitely enjoy it. It's a 9 out of 10 from me, that one, to be honest. I enjoyed the experience. Yep. And so did the two other people in the screen room, from what I could hear. And I will say 2025, despite the lack of Scream 7 being not in this year, but coming next year, all being well, I think we've got a pretty good time ahead of us for horror fans. So, if you have seen these movies, what do you think about them? You know, drop a comment in the comment section below, and I will see you guys soon.